This is day 2 of my daily journal. I've actually got some notes here. And just want these daily journals to be really raw and just to share my point of view. I don't do a lot of, I do preparation, but I don't want to do it on the teleprompter. This is just me reflecting on myself. But before we get into anything, the first things that we do for our daily journal is to declare the statement of who we want to be for today. So today I want to be accountable. I want to be consistent. I want to show up as a caring authority. I want to stay integral to my word, and I want to do everything I can to be as productive as possible. So that's just a statement to declare who I want to be for today. Daily gratitude, 3 things I'm grateful for. Grateful for the opportunity to succeed in our first year. Most businesses don't even turn a profit for the first 3 years. So the fact that we were even able to taste what success could be and could mean to us was amazing. The first time we felt this was during lockdown. And that's when Hang was at home, I was working from home, and I turned around and I told her this is what our life could be if we work hard enough. And 6 months later, it manifested into reality that we actually were able to quit our job. So very grateful that we had that opportunity. And number 2, grateful for all the mentors and the support that we've received over the years. I'm actually really grateful that even though I'm technically not on good terms with my first mentor, I'm very grateful for all the lessons I learned. And I'm just kind of going back to basics now. And a lot of the lessons I learned then, fundamentals, it still applies to this day. So I'm very grateful that my first coach or my first mentor was a good experience, because what I was telling my team about was this whole entrepreneurial world is kind of like gambling. If your first experience with gambling was bad, you went in, you got absolutely wrecked, you probably don't want to do it ever again. You probably have a bad experience, and it's harder for you to get into it. While if you go gambling the first time and you win, you get a taste of what it's like. Even if you lose the next 10 times, you know that winning is a possibility, and the next win can kind of make up for everything. And I kind of feel like this entrepreneurial world is gambling, because everything is gambling. It's risk management. It's taking risks. Whether you're trading, whether you're working at a 9-to-5 job, you're gambling as well. Your risk is that you're taking a chance that this business is going to stay alive and it's going to be able to employ you and provide you career stability and safety. So every decision you make carries risks, and the better you get at making those decisions, the less you are dependent on the luck component. For example, the best poker players stay at the best because they're able to make better decisions and understand the probability of their choices. Number 3, I'm grateful for whoever has supported us from day one. We've had many supporters come and go, and over the last 3 years, we've gone through phases. The first supporters, I would say, that we had at the start were supporting our journey to, seeing us transition from a 9-to-5 job to running a business. We were the underdog, and I think we had the most momentum in 2022. That's when we had 6 coaches. Each coach was taught how to generate their own leads. And that was the business structure. And I think during that time, I didn't really have the confidence to say that I was a boss. And I kind of made it seem like it was a fair roundhouse table, even though I carried all the risk. And anyway, and then once all those coaches left, we've had to rebuild that momentum again, which now Hang and I are on the forefront. We do all the lead generation, and we just have our team do certain roles and responsibilities within the team. But as we've gone through all those different chapters, we've gained different followers and supporters, and we're just grateful to even have any supporters in the first place. There are a few of you guys watching at the moment. I'm grateful for you guys tuning in. Hopefully you find value in my daily journal here. I'm sorry, and I've got a bit of a runny nose. The weather's a little bit funny. So just reflecting on yesterday, very happy with the way yesterday went. Yesterday was the 3rd day I uploaded my new batch of content. I've actually asked for feedback with my coaches. They're going to review the editing, and I've got the big dog, Daniel. He's going to provide his input on what changes need to be made, and I'm going to relay that and work with my editor to get that done. And so I think the biggest challenge for me over the last 3 days is a challenge that my clients kind of go through as well. And it's not seeing the results. And sometimes it can feel demotivating or disheartening that you're not getting the output for the input that you're putting in. But just like with fitness, it's really about trusting the process. The reward isn't the goal, and the work is the goal. You eat the right foods, you go to the gym, you track, you stay as consistent as possible. That's the reward. Like that's the goal. And if you're going to the gym expecting to see results every single day, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see it for a very long time. And even with the guys that do get results, they don't even see it. I'm working with, he's 45 years old, David, and he's actually competing in a jiu-jitsu jiu-jitsu competition in exactly a month's time. And he barely sees the progress that he's made. And when you see the side-by-side photos, it's night and day different. It's because when you see yourself every day, you don't see that growth. And it's so easy for us to look at the people who have already succeeded and see where they are at. And then you scroll back and you see where they used to be. And you're like, wow, that's a crazy jump. But exactly when you scroll, you're just flipping through the days, weeks, and months of hardship and hard work and going through this sticky mud just to be able to accumulate small little wins and learnings day in, day out, which compound over time, which generate that end result. So that's kind of where we're at. And I'm just going to remind myself that I'm not doing it for the engagement. That's going to be a byproduct. I'm just doing it for the process. It's the revision process. It's reviewing, getting the feedback, going back, doing it again. It's not a determining factor of self-worth or whether I am successful or not. So that's just my own internal processing. The most successful people that you guys interact or you see, they aren't without self-doubt, but they just have processes to help them overcome that self-doubt. And so when you guys feel that self-doubt, just understand that's part of the process, but you don't have to think like that. And there's certain thinking patterns that can allow you to move forward. But yeah, I've booked in a support call on Thursday. It's the earliest that I could book in. And maybe I might even get feedback from Daniel earlier. And then they also responded to me this morning that they have some feedback in terms of the editing. I like the editing, but what I like doesn't matter. It's very simplistic kind of editing, but I think they might have some input on how I could better edit the videos, and then I can relay that to my editor. Right now, I'm very grateful as well, actually, that I have videography experience, and I've been able to work and mentor my editor as well. He's a great editor. He has great skills, but because I've put in a few years worth of learning already, I'm actually able to help him accelerate his learning as well. So I've been able to teach him a few things, and it just makes working with each other a lot more efficient because I know exactly what it is that I want and how I could help him. And if you actually, right now I've uploaded 3 of those reels. The first one, the audio quality wasn't that great. The second and the third one, audio quality was a lot better. So I did all the sound engineering, if you will, the sound tweaking. And I'm grateful that I actually invested all those hours years ago, and it's actually served me today. Yesterday, after the team meeting, I spoke to the team about creating less of a dependence on me because I'm the bottleneck of my whole entire business at the moment. And the team at the moment they believe in the vision, and, I'm very grateful that they're part of the team and they believe in the vision. And I want to give them more responsibility so they feel like the work, not just so that they feel like, but so that they actually have more responsibility within the team and the work that they do actually matters and moves the needle forward. So Coach Nam is our community man. He's responsible for managing the community, customer or client relationships, pretty much the glue that holds everyone together and creates the ultimate experience. And then we have Mert. He was actually a client 2 years ago. He's still a client now, but he's actually transitioned to being part of the team, and he's actually helping me manage my social media. So I'm getting him to do some more research and understanding more about social media so he can actually challenge and teach me. Because right now I'm teaching my team everything, which means I'm the bottleneck, and it's my opinions and my subjective opinions that determine the direction. And I want to be able to have a roundhouse table discussion with people that are experts in their field, SMEs, and we're able to challenge each other. So I feel like that's the only way that I'm going to be able to grow, by hearing a difference of opinion rather than just yes men. And so Mert's been doing research, and every time he's on social media, he'll send me other creators, whether it be on YouTube or TikTok or not TikTok, YouTube or Instagram that are doing well. And he's sending to me and give me a list of things that he likes. And then we'll jump on a call for like an hour to kind of debate and talk about pros and cons and what we like, what we don't like, what I can implement, what I can't implement. And we're going back and forth. And one of the creators that Mert sent through was Dan Koe. Dan Koe on YouTube. I think I've heard of his name before. Name sounds familiar. It's about 670,000 subscribers on YouTube. And just watching that video, just my objective review here, it's something that I can definitely do. And the message that he sends is very similar to the message that we send. Talking about like training the mental toughness and the format is realistic. Like I feel like if I were to do that, I wouldn't get as much engagement. So my job is to understand why and what I can do to be able to achieve that. And I think one of the biggest mindsets that has really allowed me to have the perspective and succeed in our first year was when we're seeing what other people do, rather than thinking we can't do that because of A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Oh, they have a better camera. Oh, they have a bigger phone. They have this, they have that. I think it's a very weak way to look at things. And how I want to remind myself is asking a different question is like, how can I achieve that? How could I accomplish that? What can I do to be able to accomplish that? So what's up, Prince? I was just talking about you. Prince is my editor. So if you guys are watching and you guys need an editor, make sure you hit up 30 Frames Media. Great editor. He always gets his work done on time and really clear communication. So absolute pleasure to work with. I've worked with a few video editors and some of them are good. Some of them aren't that great. Prince is actually amazing. So I hope you succeed, Prince. And yeah, so I'm just doing some research and on the way to the gym, you know, Hang was very supportive of me getting back on YouTube. And I'm thinking like, how do I get back on YouTube? One of my biggest constraints right now is editing. And I think at least with YouTube, I want to edit that myself. And I think like finding an editor to edit it on YouTube is so expensive that it's just not worth it because it's such a long-term game plan. And I think having an editor do my YouTube takes away my ability to express my feelings and emotions through the visual communication. Because as I'm recording the stories throughout the day, I have a vision of how I want to piece together, like how I want to tell the story. And I think if I outsource that, I don't have the ability to tell the story. And I'm a nobody on YouTube. And, you know, I think if I would outsource it, my video would seem even more soulless. It would just be some dude doing stuff as opposed to me documenting my journey and my process. So that's kind of my thought process behind why I should be editing the videos. I need to figure out how I want to do it. So one of the things that I was talking with Hang was I need to have a system. I need to have a system. Like people typically feel overwhelmed because they don't have a strategy. They don't have a system. They don't have an order in which they can actually take action. And if you have like 20 things that you need to do in your day, but you don't have a way to structure those 20 things, an order to prioritize, you feel really overwhelmed because you just don't know where to begin. And I feel overwhelmed with YouTube because we've recorded a lot of content that never made it out on YouTube because I don't have the time or capacity. I probably have hours upon hours of YouTube content, and I feel like it's just too late for me to release that content because it's stuff from a year and a half ago. So I don't know how I'm ever going to get that out. I would like to get it out. Maybe that might be the first thing I do, but also editing takes such a long time, especially for a YouTube video. You're looking at like 7, 8 to 10 hours for one video. I mean, maybe if I were to do it more consistently, I would be more efficient. And again, talking about yesterday, a lot of the top creators are actually editing their own videos. So maybe it's a matter of just prioritization. Hangs just suggested that I just limit myself. I have to overcome perfection and just set a time and try to get the video out in that time. So throughout my training session yesterday, I was actually brainstorming how I could get back on YouTube. And I'm thinking about having like a topic. Like I'm able to talk on these lives for like 20 minutes. I don't think the video needs to be that long, but I can have one topic that I want to share and then separate into like 4 and write it out, separate into 4 or 5 points of the story and then film that throughout the week. on 5 different days, on Monday to Friday. One day could be like eating at home or in the office or at the gym or going out. And then I just go through and I film those things and I just piece it together. Minimal editing, focus on the storytelling. I think that's achievable. And I'm going to continue to brainstorm some more ideas, and I want to start implementing from next week. It's got to take action. Training session was great. It was one of my best training sessions. I uploaded my training on my story. Very happy with my Romanian deadlifts. My lower back has been a little bit funky. A few weeks ago, I strained my quadratus lumborum, which is towards my lower back upper glute. And then coming back into deadlifts last week, I was only able to do half of what I was able to, and I didn't do my back offset. There wasn't a lot of volume. And so coming into this session, I kind of just jumped up to what I was supposed to be doing. And of course, I couldn't do as much volume. I need to ramp back up. So note to self, my next deadlift session, I want to ramp up slowly, probably go back to 145 or 150, then ramp up over the next few weeks. But otherwise, I was very happy with my Romanian deadlifts. I have a sharp pain in my right hip towards my glute that makes it a little bit painful to complete the Romanian deadlifts in full range of motion. I might need to get that checked out. And I think it's also affecting my ability to push on my quads as well, because my left quads is definitely stronger than my right one. Doing single leg press, my left stronger, smoother than my right leg. And when you actually look at my contest prep stuff from 1 year ago, I hide it very well when I do the posing, but my left legs is smaller than my right one, which is why my coach has me doing unilateral leg exercises, which means I'm doing one leg at a time. And I think I've been training very evenly, but I think because I have some kind of, I wouldn't say an injury, but some kind of niggle, it's not allowing me to produce the same output on my right side. But otherwise, I'm very happy. My leg extensions, I was able to beat what I did last week by a big margin as well. Last week was 95 kilos. Last week was 90 kilos. This week was 100 kilos. So I've gone up by 10, able to match the reps. But otherwise, all in all, a great training session. I've been listening to Linkin Park again during my workouts. And I find that I only listen to music maybe in the first half. And then towards the second half, I'm walking over to Hang's exercises to kind of hype her up and kind of push her. And we end up just talking a lot. So I don't actually listen to music. I just have my headphones in. I sometimes prefer to train without music. But to be fair, the gym has music. And if the gym didn't have music, I think it'd feel really awkward. So I guess I always do train to music, but I don't always have headphones in my ears. And sometimes I don't like to have headphones in my ears and just like to hear the surroundings. And yeah, I just go through phases. This time last year, I was spending a lot of time learning while at the gym, but I find that I'm not able to focus. Steven, morning. How are you, man? Hope you've been well. I find that it's hard to focus on learning stuff when I'm at the gym, because when I'm setting it in the set, I can't think of anything. I can't count and also listen at the same time, and I can't record at the same time. So because I can't do all three, I have to do one at a time. So I typically prefer to have my phone to record, which means I can't listen to music. I think being able to record my exercises is more valuable than listening to music. I know some people feel a bit stronger when they listen to music. I feel like I just need to get into that mindset of filtering out thoughts. And that's really what meditation is, just focusing on a singularity. And I feel like I've had moments in my life where I felt anxious before. I've even had a panic attack before. I almost overdosed on drugs a long time ago. And I was alone in my room and I had like a panic attack. And it was just a trigger of a certain thought. And I just had to not think about that one thought. And that thought was my parents coming into the room and seeing me in the condition that I was. But I think I've had moments where I feel nervous about before I speak publicly or do a presentation or jump onto a discovery call. And it's like the switch that I flip in my mind that turns it another way, where I don't think about what makes me feel anxious. I've had moments where I actually I got into lucid dreaming a few years ago. I was obsessed with, after watching Inception, I was obsessed with being able to somehow utilize that time when I'm sleeping and control my dreams. And the thing about lucid dreaming is, if you have a negative thought or a bad thought, you can't unthink it. So if you think about something scary, all you're going to think about is scary things, and it becomes like a nightmare. And I think what I enjoy is trying to control my mind as much as possible. And I think that's why over 10 years, I enjoyed doing drugs so much, not just because it was an escape, but it was just exploring my mental capacity under certain influences. I think the mind is such a beautiful thing, and I think that we don't spend enough time to try to understand ourselves. And like understanding your conscious and your unconscious, you start to have more control of how you can manifest yourself and how you can present yourself. You know, and I think most people are so reactive to their emotions and their surroundings that they don't take a step back to think about why they're feeling certain things. But anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. That's why I also really enjoy training. It's a mindset thing. I truly believe that training is not about, people that don't actually go to the gym and apply themselves every single session. They think going to the gym is what meatheads do, and they're just going in and just grunting and trying to lift as much weight as possible. It's so much more sophisticated than that. It is a battle of your internal, and how much you're able to lift is really a representation of your mindset. How much you're able to push yourself in that one session is based on how far you can endure that pain, that short-term pain for the long-term gain. And then how consistent you're able to be day in, day out for weeks, months, and years on end is going to determine what your physique looks like. And it's just so many layers of nuances within that one training session. And like everyone has time for it. And I feel like I don't think everyone should go to the gym. I mean, I think you can find any other sport or physical activity that allows you to push yourself. Running is great. It's getting a lot of popularity, and it's very easy, and you can run. And it's really about, again, a battle of mental endurance, like how far you can push. And I think that if you're able to push yourself when you train, you can transpose that into other areas of your life. And so specifically yesterday, I think the reason why I was able to push myself so much was I started to see more parallels between my training and where we are at with the business. I feel like I'm so good at just going 80% of the way, and I would fade towards the end of the workout. I might skip a few exercises, and if you skip it, I'm calling myself out here, but I normally skip training glutes and calves. By then I'm just so mentally toast, and sometimes I make excuses that we have to get back to work, and because we used to go to the gym at 10 o'clock and we need to get back by 1 o'clock. That's when we have calls again. So I miss out on those exercises, and I think over time that lack of commitment starts to compound, and I start to see that in other areas of my life as well, which is like my work. I might put in 80% and then I'll fade towards like the last 20, or I'm just not doing everything that I need to, just going 80%. And so just listening to Dan Koe, who is in alignment with my values and beliefs, and just hearing it again, even though I'm not being taught, I'm being reminded, helped me through that session to remind me that the difficulty that it feels for me to do those exercises is the same difficulty for me to do the things that most people aren't willing to do with their business. For example, showing up every single day. For the first 2 years of running the business, I was able to show up every single day without fail. From the moment I decided I was going to post content, every single day I wrote a piece of content, a photo, a long caption, and it went out every single day without fail. The moment I started to do lives, I did that for 2.5 years. At like 400 plus episodes, and I didn't fall off track at all. And then the one day I broke that streak set a precedent that it was okay to break a streak again, and it happened again and again, and I eventually stopped last year. Last year I did the mini cut series. I have all the content for the 6 weeks, but I didn't have the bandwidth to release all the videos. Again, I'm seeing these patterns. I'm not able to finish what I started, and that I think is a result. Is what's created the results that we have today. And so for me to achieve success, I just need to go back to basics and just finish off what I started. So now that I've committed to this daily journal, I know on Instagram it says daily journal 1. It should be daily journal 2. But I just want to see how far I can do it, how many days in a row I can do it. And I truly believe that if I can get to 1,000 days in a row, like 3 years, 1,000 days in a row, it is unreasonable for me to not succeed. And I think that's how you outwork your self-doubt, by putting in so much work that it becomes unreasonable for you to succeed. And I think 3 years is not a long time. I think we've been able to go really far for the first 3 years. And imagine if we were to apply the knowledge that we have now, today, and apply that for the next 3 years. Where could I be? And if I were to be consistent every single day, progressively overload every single day, show up to the gym every day, track my nutrition every day, of course I'm going to get great results. I've had great results over the last 3 years. And with the business, if I were to stay consistent, create content, and I put in effort, put in proper effort, and continue to be uncomfortable, there's no way I'm not going to succeed. And like thinking about all this finally takes me to the topic of today's live, which is the harsh reality that I'm not as good as I think I am. And there's so much further that I want to get to. And when you see these creators that are able to show up so simply and effortlessly, there's so much nuances in that effortlessness. There's so much complexity for them to show up in that way. And when you watch a video that seems really simple, and when you watch it like, I could create a video like that, you feel that way because of the way that they're able to present themselves and make the information very easily digestible. And just because you're able to understand it doesn't mean you're able to teach it. So I need to learn that skill of how to create better content. I think the actual content itself is second to none. And I think every creator thinks like that because it's from their own unique perspective. And I think ours is no different. But I need to learn how to structure that and present it in a way that's more accessible to more people and it's more enjoyable for more people. And in effect, it becomes more valuable. And I think the feeling of, I know a lot of people, they struggle with the feeling of not feeling good enough. And that's how I feel right now. I feel like I'm not good enough. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think not feeling good enough is a good thing. I like not feeling good enough because it makes me strive to be better. It's an uncomfortable feeling because for me, I don't want to feel good enough. You know, why do I want to feel good enough? It means that I don't have a reason to grow. I don't have a reason to move forward. I start to become comfortable. So I just have to get used to this feeling. And I think over the last 3 years, after everything that's happened, I think I'm starting to build a lot of that resilience. And this has become the new normal, which means that I'm prepared for that next level. Because if I'm going to continue to grow to where I want, I want to feel the way that I feel right now every single day. So again, I'm just sharing with you what it feels like to be a business owner that most people don't really talk about or share about. You might see them and they say, yeah, it's been really tough and it's been a bit of a grind. But this is what hard feels like. Hard only feels hard when you're looking at it in hindsight. In the moment, it feels like a dead end. And it's because you don't know the way forward. It's cloudy. It's not clear. Because if it's clear, you'd be able to get there. And if it's clear for everyone else, everyone will also get there. So your success is just average. So for you to be above average, for you to be the 1 in 1,000, you just need to continue to push every single day. So that's it. That's my daily journal number 2. Hopefully you guys find that valuable. Intentions for today, we're going to be meeting up with one of our clients. She's from Washington in the States. She's come down in Australia. She's decided to visit Melbourne to visit us. So Hang and I are going to take her out to brunch this morning. I think it's great that someone is... She's here in Australia for Sydney. I don't know why she's Hang's client. But I think it's meaningful that she made the effort to go from Sydney to Melbourne just to see us. You know, someone from across the world were able to make that impact. And I think what was crazy was I engaged with her on Instagram first. And then I jumped into a discovery call with her. And that was a long call. And there was a lot of mental resistance patterns. Like every objection that you can think of. You know, it doesn't align with my values. It's not the right time for me. I don't think it's for me. And I was able to help her break free and break through each of those mental barriers. And then she jumped into a call with Hang and absolutely loved what we had to offer. Jumped on for the 6-week challenge. It was tough for her to kind of make it work, and she'd made it work. And then after the 6-week challenge, she's like, I want to join the full program. And so she's been on the full program for us for a couple months now. And it's just crazy to see someone's growth, you know, from the moment that we first spoke to the first discovery call. It's like one onion layer after another, after another, after another. And as she starts to build momentum, more and more and more and more and more. And I think just reminding ourselves of those transformations reminds us that we're doing the right thing, that what we have to offer is world class, and we just need to work on the acquisition on the marketing side to be able to find more people like that. So that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. What else are my other intentions? I've been also building school, which is a low ticket offer as well. Putting a lot of effort into it. I think it's great. You know, I've been planning back and forth with Hang over the last few days, how we can best structure this that would make sense for you guys without feeling overwhelming. So it's going to be trickle fed and going to give you what you need at that time. And as the more that you engage and interact, and the more that you're enveloped into the process, the more information that you have. And I really want it to be like an encyclopedia almost, but like a short version, something that's really consumable, that's going to encapsulate everything that we teach at Achieve Championship. Because again, we know that our program isn't accessible for everyone. We want it to be accessible for everyone, and structure it in a way that for those that are very resourceful and studious, they can actually go through and learn themselves and better change more lives. So that's really what our ultimate mission is, and that's our next logical step forward within the business. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.